All right, we should be recording now. Hello to everybody that might be watching or listening to this. This is What Do I Know About Actual Play? And tonight we are playing Streets of Avalon, the Bleak Testament. And we are playing Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. I literally almost said Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. That's like a really deeply ingrained... So, as we get ready to play, I am going to have everyone introduce themselves and their characters. Our wonderful Weregator is not here tonight yet, but he may come in a little bit later. But let's start with Brandon. Why don't you introduce yourself and your character?
I am Brandon, and I am playing Bar Broomhill, the barge folk rogue of the group, a bit of a swashbuckler. And, yeah, he gets himself into trouble.
All right, let's go to Bob. Why don't you introduce yourself and your character?
As he said, I am Bob, and I am playing Garland Bach. I am a half-orc fighter / bounty hunter / leg breaker with a penchant for guns. And I also have a bit of a history of weird crap happening, and then mimic copies of me running around the city, which is terrible.
That is true. I wonder if there's another generation of Garland bugs out there. All right, and Eileen, why don't you introduce yourself and your character?
I'm Eileen. Excuse me, I am playing Morgan, the cleric of Hermes. I kind of take care of the street rats in the neighborhood and make sure Barrow Broomhill doesn't undercut my people too much, and try to be the voice of reason.
All right, and on that note, we are going to cut to our opening scene where we are seeing the sun is going down. It is the Isles, which is the location where our intrepid adventurers are located in. This time of year, the river Styx underground floods up into the streets in this particular district, and it just gets completely washed out except for a few places where it's passable to move in between this neighborhood and other neighborhoods. And right now we see, as the sun is going down, a figure that is just moving without paddling or anything on some driftwood from lamp to lamp, lighting lamps. And this figure has its facial features covered up in a hood, and someone comes up behind them, and the creature turns around towards them. There are no eyes that you can see within the hood. The face is this horrific mockery of a human being. And they turn around to the person that's walked up on them and says, "Ah, yes. Time for more of a story? But what is this? You want to know what's going on outside of our heroes? That's going to cost you even more. But let me give you some context on what has happened that has led us to this particular moment in history." And we zoom out within the scene to another scene that the lamplighter is telling his mysterious client who is paying for these services of storytelling. And what we see is a scene from a little over 30 years ago. And this scene is known to some of the people in the Isles. And that is the famous battle where Grandmother Shark got her name, as the sewers were flooding and she was fighting a horrible beast in the sewers. And at the same time that she is fighting this beast, a member of the Brotherhood of Sanitary Excavators is also in the same area. This is the origin of their most recent round of rivalries between the two of them, as this younger man from the Sanitary Excavators is also fighting monsters off in the sewer area, and they're yelling at each other and taking shots at each other in between fighting these vague creatures that are jumping up out of the sewers at them left and right. But what we see around the corner is another member of the Sanitary Excavators that has found a secret passageway. And as she walks into the secret passageway, she sees a dimly lit room with a giant stone wall that is older than the rest of the chamber with a seal on it. We see a podium with a chain and a book on it, and there's a shadowy figure hovering just over the book and the chain. Behind the podium is another figure, for all intents and purposes looks like an angel with all of the flesh flayed off of them, standing behind the podium. He looks up and sees this woman coming into the room and says, "Mortal, you must leave here. You are in absolute danger. Do not come a step closer." And eyes form into the shadows that are hovering above the book. And suddenly the shadow is gone and the woman's eyes are glowing. And at this point, she makes a horrible noise, convulses, collapses on the ground, and a few minutes stands up and walks away. And the angel with the flesh scoured off of them says, "Damn." And now we're going to cut back to all of our people here. So, when we left off with our heroes, Barrow had just gotten a crossbow bolt invitation to travel to the newest gambling establishment in the Isles, and thereby to talk some business with one of the Assassin's Guilds. So, Barrow, what would you like to do, and what is everyone else planning on doing at this point?
Well, I'm not going to ask that anybody go with me, but I'm not going to stop anybody from going with me. This is apparently my job that I got to go take care of. So I will be heading towards the new gambling establishments.
All right. So this new gambling establishment is the Caravan, and it is basically a bunch of pavilion tents set up on the top of a two-story building, and there are ramps that lead up to all of these pavilion tents. It is primarily outdoors, but it's a sprawling rooftop, and as far as any of you remember, the building beneath it is just kind of this rotting husk that nobody's been in for a while. But all of a sudden, someone just put up all these tents, and your local friendly neighborhood House of Odin Valkyrie, who is running her own gambling establishment, suddenly has a competition here. So Barrow is going to be on his way there. Is anyone else going?
I will tag along.
All right.
I'm curious.
Okay. So all of you travel down there, and this is basically the note had indicated sundown for your meeting. So as you get there, you see like this big reinforced plank that goes up to the top level of this building, and there's a lot of like braces underneath it, but it also looks like it could be sturdy, but it also doesn't look like it is a super high quality engineering job. So who's going to walk up that ramp first?
I'm not worried about it. I'm a little indexterous, and I've fallen off things before.
That's true. You've practiced that a lot.
Gravity is a harsh mistress.
Indeed.
And as the sun is setting, the rain does start to come down a little bit, which has a bunch of people swearing because they're really hoping to get a few weeks without rain so that the sticks can start to drain off again. This is kind of the peak time, and it should be starting to drain off any day now, but with the rain still coming every night, it's not helping.
Yeah.
So Barrow, you walk up there, and it's a little springy on this ramp, but it's not too bad. Who else would like to come next?
I'll go.
Garland, it feels solid, but it definitely creaks more in protest when you stand on it.
Oh, I'm sure it's like, what are you doing, you big dude?
Morgan, you always seem to bring up the rear in these situations here.
Yeah, it usually doesn't end well for anybody. Can you mute Brandon? Thank you. Yeah, I'll go up. I'll go up once Garland is no longer on it to not add any additional weight.
Smart move.
All right, so you get to the top, and the people at the caravan they're dressed in what looks like what people in the nicer neighborhoods would see as like circus clothes, but they're not nice circus clothes. These are like what someone thinks circus clothes should look like, having built it out of whatever clothes that they could scavenge.
Okay, creepy clown caravan. All right.
It's like circus in Reno.
Yeah, so you're seeing like this man with this patched up top hat with obvious like holes in it, including something that looks like a bullet hole. He kind of takes the hat down and says, "Welcome to the caravan. We have all kinds of games for your gambling pleasure. Please sit down and enjoy our establishment to the fullest."
I do like an overemphasized bow to him as I walk in.
And you notice like he brings out this really elaborate umbrella as it starts to rain a little bit more, and puts it over himself. All the pavilion tents are pretty well sealed. Like right in the middle, there's going to be some leakage on all of them because they're not like perfect tents, but as long as the wind doesn't blow, it shouldn't be too bad. But yes, you see within these things, there's a lot of card games. There's a few other like games of chance. A lot of dice games. A lot of this just kind of looks like somebody pulling together all whatever gambling accoutrements they can come up with and trying to make some money off of it. But it appears to be going over well. And you
People
do know,
must be very desperate for their gambling.
well, the well was shut down for about a month, so they opened at a very opportune time. There is one particular tent over in the corner. All of the other tents are colorful if patched together, but there is one tent that is completely gray over in the corner, and the gray tent is where you are directed to meet with this person.
Well, I will be heading directly there. I am kind of looking around, making sure that nothing sketchy's going on out here.
You see there's some ruffian type people that are gambling at some of the places, but nobody seems like on edge, like they're ready to go at anything. They're just, having a good time, drinking, gambling, doing that sort of thing. And so you get to the gray tent, and here we go. Get to the right page. So when you get there, there is a man sitting in the corner, and he's kind of a nondescript human, kind of light brown skin, got a well-trimmed beard, not bad looking, not good looking, just like somebody that would be really easy to just kind of forget. And he's wearing gray clothes. He's got fingerless gloves on, and he's sitting over in the corner, and he looks at you and goes, "You must be Barrow."
Yes, that's me.
All right, I see you brought some friends, so I got to ask you something. I'm going to negotiate something with you, and if the negotiations don't go well, it may reflect poorly for your friends. So I want to ask, are your friends willingly part of this negotiation, or do you want them to leave the tent? Because if they leave the tent now, I don't care who they are. They can go do whatever they're going to do.
I didn't ask them to come along, so that's up to them.
I stand by my friends.
Good man. And what about you, priest of Hermes? Or are you, sorry, I should not assume that. Are you actively wearing...
Your mic. Sorry.
Are you actively wearing your symbol, or are you more clandestine than that?
I'm thinking that, like, when we go to the well, I've tucked away all the religious assortment and utilizing my disguise kit.
Okay, so instead of calling you out as a priest of Hermes, he instead does the overly schmarmy, well, I appreciate a woman that's willing to sign on for some danger.
That's what I'm here for.
He has you sit down at the table, and he was like, he holds up a bottle of wine. Want some?
Sure.
No, I'm good.
Pours out some in a cup and slides it over to you. Pours out some in his cup and drinks it. You know, he's an assassin. He knows. He drinks it first.
I raise my glass to him and take a sip.
All right, so Borrow, you got some swords.
Mm-hmm.
Those swords belong as a badge of office to my guild, the Knight's Claws. Now, this would normally be bad for you if you had inherited swords that you were not allowed to have. But I am also a businessman. And what I would like to do for you is make you an offer. And here's that offer. I want you to do a job for us. You do a job, we will make you a member, and technically you can keep those swords. And we will never ask you to do another job again. We just want to be able to say, since there seems to be a lot of guilds and some nobles putting their attention into this district for whatever reason, we would like to be able to say we have a representative of our guild in this neighborhood. We wouldn't call on you to do any specific jobs. We just want to be able to truthfully point to somebody that is a member of our organization that is stationed in this neighborhood. However, we do need you to do a job for us in order to make everything legitimate according to guild bylaws.
So I guess that really depends on what this job is.
Well, if you're interested in the job, let me explain it to you. See, there's a man. We like to call him the Hermit. And you see, the Hermit retired, but he didn't retire the right way. Didn't go through the right channels. He just ducked out, took his full share, didn't pay his guild dues, and just disappeared. And he holed up in this district. And he's a retired assassin, but we just can't have somebody flaunting our bylaws that way. So we need somebody to teach him a lesson. You don't even need to sully your personal morals. I can tell you he is a rotten bastard, and he has it coming.
And I just have to take your word for it.
If you want to ask around, that's fine. But I got to tell you, as far as this deal goes, you got to have this done in the next 30 days. Next 30 days, one of the higher-ups in the guild is going to contract somebody else, and then this deal is off the table. So if you can spend time to research this and still get him dead in 30 days, no skin off my nose.
That seems reasonable. And if the job isn't done in 30 days, your people still come after me?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because then you're kind of in the same boat as the Hermit, because you got stuff that we have and we can't let people flaunt the bylaws. But I just think this is going to be a neat package where everybody wins. You get to keep the swords. You get the honor of telling people that you're with the Night Claws, even though we're not going to expect any jobs out of you. We just want that name recognition.
Okay. I think you'll know what happens in the next 30 days.
All right. And he slides you the address of the place where the hermit lives in this district. This was a very pleasant meeting. Does anybody else want any wines before I leave?
No.
Nah.
Okay. Well, I think I'm going to go roll some bones. But I'll see all of you at some point in time, I guess. Maybe.
We'll see.
And he gets up and you see him walk towards the door, but he barely even causes the flap of the door to, the tent to move. Like, it's just this barely perceptible movement, and he's outside and has barely moved this at all.
Interesting.
So you are all in this tent alone for a few moments.
So I have a question. My background has a feature called Ear to the Ground.
Mm-hmm.
You were in frequent contact with people in the segment of society that your chosen quarries move through. These people might be associated with criminal underworld, rough and tumble folk of the streets, or members of high society. Connection comes in the form of a contact in any city you visit, a person who provides information about the people and places of the local area. I would like to know more about this hermit.
Oh, yeah. And I'm going to say, with that background feature, all you have to do is go someplace where you can drop a few things. So if you wanted to go to, say, over to the moat house, it would be really easy for you to collect that information. No check involved. You just need to ask a few people, and you got your data.
That's what I was hoping for.
All right. So is there anything else you would like to accomplish before you leave this cozy little tent?
I think so.
Brandon mute. I kind of motion at the tent flap as the guy goes out, and I look at Barrow and I'm like, that's how you do it.
Maybe the secrets will be unlocked if I go through with this, but whatever.
All right. So, Barrow, since this is something from your background, I don't think you currently have inspiration.
I do not.
So I'm going to give you inspiration for
Woo.
having something complicated come up from your background.
Crap, I forgot to ask him if guy I stole him from was one of them. Maybe I'll have another chance.
Yeah, you still got to technically initiate you once you do the job. So are you going to head straight over to the moat house then?
Unless anybody else has anything they want to do, that's where I'm going to go.
What else do we have to do right now?
Well, at some point you probably need to explore the towers, the well, now that they have it pumped out, before it gets filled up again.
That's right.
But I mean, that's not something you necessarily have to do tonight. It's just something you should probably do, within a few days before it fills back in.
I was going to say, if it's going to be raining again, don't necessarily want to be trapped in there.
All right.
So to the moat house?
To the moat house.
Sure. All right. So once again, you get out on the streets and you see the urchins doing their ferrying people through the streets to make their extra money now. And I'm gonna say, just for fun, the one that is available to ferry you across here is Scuff. And Scuff is the one that has had the biggest chip on his shoulder about Barrow this whole time. So he's sitting there with the skiff and he goes, "Hey, do you need to get anywhere in the streets?" And he looks up and he sees Barrow and he goes, "You."
Yeah. I've been leaving you guys alone for the past month or so, so relax.
And he makes a point to look over at Morgan and goes, Mistress, is he okay?
I'm keeping an eye on him.
Okay, I guess I can let you on my boat then. And he will pull you through the streets over to the to the moat house. The moat house has gone into its seasonal seating, which is that they have moved a bunch of tables and chairs up to the roof, and they have also put up some tents. Not quite as colorful as the caravan, but you reach the roof through the inside, so you notice there's a few feet of water in the inside where you normally would have tables and chairs, and once you get through that, you can take a set of stairs up to the roof, and you hear the pattering of rain as it's hitting these kind of musty tents that are up here. The air is very kind of musty, even though it's dark now. There's just, all of the backed up underwater, between the sewer and the river and the mud and everything. It's just, you're probably lucky that it's more of a cloying, musty smell than a sharper, waste-scented smell.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely.
So, yeah, you're up there. There's plenty of people in these tents. Actually, I'm going to say this is more like one big tent. It's not like a bunch of little tents like the caravan. It's like they just have one big one up here. And there's all sorts of people here. And a few different people that work as muscle. And if you would like, you can, ask them a few questions.
Yeah, I will definitely do that.
So you just circulate and drop a few words here and there. Nobody raises an eyebrow because you know how to do this, because this is something that you do. And what you hear is that people have heard of the Hermit. They have heard that the Hermit is out of the game. Most people avoid the Hermit because when he first retired to this district and people tried to recruit him for some of the local guilds, those people were not found again, and he did not seem to take kindly to anyone talking to him. He's basically been called the Hermit because, every once in a while, he has people that'll check in on him and get like a shopping list and go out and bring him stuff and leave it here in the abandoned house that he lives in. And I mean, it's technically not abandoned because he lives there, but he doesn't keep it up or anything. It's just, he lives in like one of the upper rooms and the rest of it's just falling to pieces. And, someone drops off his purchases like once a month or so, and no one's going in there because when he first showed up a couple years back, he just seemed to make people disappear whenever they would ask around about him. No one's put a bounty on his head because they figure as long as he's not an active player, it's better just to leave him alone.
Okay, so either those people went to see him and he killed them and got rid of the bodies, or something else more nefarious is going on. We shall find out.
I definitely think that a good plan would be to possibly shadow him and get some patterns established. That way we can use that to our advantage. And
yeah, definitely eyeball his place, see if he does anything.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as far as like the word on the street goes, he does not leave the house. There is that person that shows up and does his shopping for him, and that's it.
Yeah, that might be an asset too.
Yeah. But the general consensus among people who have heard of him, have they kind of confirmed prior to his moving in the reputation of his work? Stone Cold Killer type?
Oh, yeah. He did not have any compunctions on jobs that he would take. He did get to a point to where he was turning down certain jobs, but it was more because of reputation than because of like, hey, we want you to murder this child heir, and it would be like, no, I'm not doing that. But that's mainly because I don't feel like doing it. It's not high profile enough, not because it's a kid, that sort of thing.
Here comes End Lane.
All right.
Oh, sorry.
Not a problem. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right.
That's good. So our intrepid group of adventurers, Barrow might have a job, and they're gathering information at the moat house at the moment. And it would be very easy for Zindlane to be at the moat house.
Sounds good. I think I have good reason to be at the moat house.
We've been looking for you.
I'm like buried in books, like back in some obscure corner of the moat house. And you hear me mumbling to myself as you come in eventually.
No surprise, you're always talking to yourself.
So, and you hear a voice saying, "No, turn this page upside down. For some reason, they wrote it upside down."
Yeah, I have like books like propped up against the wall. One of them's hanging from like a leather thong, just like hanging like at a weird diagonal angle. Yeah. And like I'm kind of like propped up sideways against the wall so I can get the right angle on all these things.
So, what's been going on in part because the everything is still flooded out. Everything at the moat house has been moved up to the roof, so you're inside like a big pavilion tent. So you're kind of leaned up against one of the bigger struts that's holding the tent up. Although Zindlane may not even notice that he's in a tent.
Yeah, I was in a kind of a trance when they moved me.
You have to go upstairs, Zindlane. So yes, does everybody, now that you notice Zindlane over in the corner, do you all move over to him?
Absolutely.
So yeah, you hear Zindlane talking to himself, and there is kind of a slight difference between him asking himself something out loud and asking his friend something.
Was that 11 degrees or 10 degrees rotation?
All right, so, okay. You see the corner of the table. If you line this up at 90 degrees here, and then set another book on the corner here, you'll see a pattern emerge in the middle of the page.
I've gotten yelled at several times for trying to fold the pages.
So, does anyone fill in Zindlane on what has been going on so far?
So Barrow got himself into trouble. He went and got these swords.
When did you guys get here?
And now we got to go off somebody.
Barrow is Barrow here?
He jumps up like over the books.
Oh, there you are.
Right there.
Wait, so we have to off somebody?
Well, I haven't decided that yet. I want to make sure that this guy is as bad as they say he is. I don't want to go.
So far, it sounds like it.
Yeah. But you never know. There's more than one side to a story, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes and see what comes of it. And either the people who've been trying to kill me will get off my back, or they'll keep trying to kill me. So,
those people.
Yeah, those people.
Oh.
All because of those swords you carry.
Yeah, well, the swords are, I just happened upon them.
It was a happy
back
accident.
of a cart.
There are no mistakes. There are only happy accidents.
Yes.
Happy accidents.
Also, we need to go into the well now that it's been pumped out to look for the other temple.
Ooh, yes. Hopefully there's not a dragon down there.
Well, that's what I'm hoping. I don't want to have to kill another one of those.
Could be something worse.
Worse than a dragon? What could that be?
There's always something worse in Avalon.
Two dragons?
I know, you've seen those angels. Think about if demons actually exist, what they look like if the angels look like that.
You have angels and demons.
It's like you could write a book about that.
What?
A convoluted conspiracy.
Chasing puzzles through Rome.
So, yeah, you have this information, and you have 30 days to figure out what you're going to do about the hermit. But yes, that is completely up to you what you'd like to do about that.
Yeah, since we have 30 days, I think we should probably, like maybe tomorrow, go down into the well and start looking around.
Yeah, don't put any priority over what I got myself into.
But I mean, you just got here. What are we waiting for? If the well's done, I thought why are we up on the roof? What the heck? What happened to the library?
It's the rain and the flooding. Remember how the streets flood and the ground floor of like a lot of buildings floods out?
Yeah, but like, huh? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I like that when Zenlane issued his threat last time, he was like so composed and getting back into noble mode, and now he's just like completely back into full-on warlock mode. So yeah, I mean, you could go into the well. It's dark, but I mean, it's going to be dark in the well one way or the other.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, we could wait till tomorrow. I think we could go get a drink. That means we could get a drink.
We could get a drink.
I want to give yourself a break there. All work and no
I've
play
almost
makes
got this puzzle figured out.
all work and no play makes Zenlane a dull boy.
Nobody wants that.
No. Dull Zenlane is boring Zenlane.
As you see that he like shifts a book just an inch to the left. Oh, right, there you go.
I don't know if there's such a thing as boring Zidlane.
And you hear a voice as you say that saying, "And thank the gods for that." And Abaro walks up and sets down a drink for Zendlane.
Ooh. I
All
absolutely
right, we're getting drinks.
drink with gusto.
How you doing, Zendlane? I haven't seen you around for a little bit.
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. I'm still not really sure what happened to the library, but you know.
So, I've been hearing that all of you are part of this deal where Marley paid for us to back off long enough for the excavators to pump out the well. That's like the second time that somebody's fronted the money for them so that they can operate. You'd think they would just like lean over and start paying us for that, but apparently they're still being too stubborn for that. But it's really interesting that there's enough rich people in this this area that they're willing to front the money for them so they can operate once in a while.
Yep.
Maybe we could get like a third party to donate their tithe to operate here, and we could get the things working again. I mean, clearly the bottleneck isn't that we're requiring that money from them for them to do their jobs. The bottleneck is that nobody's giving us our due.
Right.
Anyway, I didn't know, you know, since Inlane is such a good friend of mine, I didn't know if any of you wanted to share anything about, you know, what you might be doing in the well there. As far as I knew, it was just, you know, a well. You know, people get thrown down in there when they can't pay their gambling debts.
Totes.
Well, I mean, if the people are thrown down in there because they're not paying their gambling debts, maybe there's money down there.
So are you saying you're looking for treasure down there? Is that what you're saying?
Not exactly.
Are you trying to hint at that, Zinlane?
I mean, Zinlane thinks he can get some coin. Sure, but
Yeah, it seems like that was a pretty expensive payout for the Valkyrie to get that done. I mean, that's some pretty extensive work. They got
how much do we trust this person?
I mean, she really likes Zendlane. She honestly does like Zendlane. It's a drinking buddy of Zendlane's. But
Yeah.
she is also an enforcer for the cadre of vermin catchers.
Right. Yeah, she's good people.
And she did help you hide the bodies of those two people when you got into the fight with them, even though they weren't dead. Although they are now.
Oh, right.
Minor point.
No, I think she's good people. We could probably tell her what's going on.
I'm not opposed.
I look at Morgan.
Sure. Let me see if I can sum this up. There's an ancient evil that has been loosed
And you
upon the
notice,
city.
like, as soon as you say ancient evil, Abara's eyes start rolling a little bit, but she keeps listening.
There are a series of temples underneath the city that were used to contain evil.
Okay, temples I
And-
can buy.
Yeah. One of those temples is supposedly beneath the well.
The last one had a dragon. We're trying to figure out what this one will have.
And she gets a big smile on her face, and she looks at Zendling. Get the fuck out of here!
I look at her and
Dragon.
I give her like total stone face, like dragon.
Like with the wings and the scales and the fire.
Yeah, huh?
Not quite.
How would nobody notice that underneath the city?
Yeah, like nobody would notice an angel flying over the city.
Yeah, that's a good point, Zendlane. What the hell? Are you gonna be telling me that angels fly over the city now?
Yeah, and they drop people.
Splat.
I mean,
Flat.
people were
It's not a
flying out of-
catapult.
And a bunch of faces that looked like mine doing weird shit running around the city.
I just figured you were taking a lot of off the book jobs.
Nope. Some funky shit going on.
You know what? I think, just to see, Abara's still going to be positively disposed towards Zenlane. But I want to see if all of you telling her these stories actually convinces her that these things are going on, or if she just thinks that you're all full of shit. Or, in Zendlane's case, that he's Zendlane.
Sure.
So if you guys would like to give me a persuasion check. We'll do this as a group thing.
I'm all down for persuasion check.
23.
Jeez.
Dang. All right. Where's my D20? There it is.
Roll a 1, so
Nice.
I get to re-roll.
That's gonna be good.
Oh, that's not any better. 3. Well, not much better.
Hold on a second. I gotta find my character sheet. I rolled a
Dang,
16, and I've got a good bonus. So
Yeah, I got a 5 total.
Morgan's carrying you so far.
hold on. I think I'm pretty sure I beat Morgan.
Here comes the warlock.
Persuasion. I got a 23. What did you get, Morgan? 24?
23.
Oh, okay. I tied Morgan.
I got a 3.
All right. So, because 50% of the party was
Two
successful.
23s, a 3, and a 5.
Because 50% of the party was successful, you know, she thinks, I mean, she may not buy everything, but she thinks that you guys have definitely seen some supernatural shit, and you're, at least you believe that some of this stuff is going down, and she believes that it is at least some kind of supernatural stuff going down. She's like, oh God, I hate it when shit like this happens in our actual neighborhood.
Yeah, but chaos is a good opportunity for profit.
She goes,
Is it though?
If you make the right business deals during the chaos, you can really profit well.
order is also a good opportunity.
War is good. War is good for profit. Peace is good for profit.
So she sits there and goes, I don't know if any of you guys remember this, but like about 5 years back, there was like a vampire running around in the district. It was just a nightmare. Sucking the blood out of people. I mean, we're used to cleaning bodies up off the street, but this was like, oh, I guess we got to burn this one because then we'll have more vampires. It was such a pain.
Yeah.
Glad we don't have like multiplying monsters that are just, you know, building up behind the scenes right now.
I'm sure nothing like that's happening here.
Yep. I look very pointedly at Garland.
I just raise an eyebrow. They're not all my fault.
Well, so, all right. Well, we definitely have some supernatural shit going down then. I'm gonna assume that you don't want me to share all of this with Grandmother Shark.
Oh, I mean, the information such as this, is probably worth something, right?
I'm just gonna say I can't lie to her, being one of her top-rated assistants, but I don't need to bring stuff up to her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you do, make sure that that you and us both, on that, make sure that you can profit with it as well as us.
I'm picturing like as Zinslane is saying this, the voice in your head is trying to coach you, trying to tell you what you're supposed to be saying, and you keep tripping over things because he keeps saying,
Right.
No, say it this way. Say it.
We could all make money on this.
Hey, if you find anything valuable, let me know. I mean, I can definitely find you a fence for it.
Excellent. And if you happen to find some valuable information based on what what you happen to hear tonight, I wouldn't mind. I think it would be in all of our best interest for us to work together.
Yeah, I'll keep my ears open, and honestly, now that I know that you actually have some serious shit going down, I can try and keep people from poking their noses in too much, at least in my guild.
Perfect.
Awesome.
And she orders another round of drinks for all of you and then leaves.
You're my favorite.
All right, let's not get too drunk because we want to get up in the morning, and even though it's going to be dark down there, it'll be daytime. Sometimes maybe things don't come out in the daytime, even though it's dark. I'm crossing my fingers here.
Hoping this is true. All right, so if you, I'm gonna say, like most of you have an uneventful night.
Most.
Uh-oh.
So Garland, you can make it back to your home, which currently everything is kind of moved up to the upper floors because flooding. But you can make it home all right. Borrow, you can make it up to your attic.
Had to live higher up.
Zinlane, I believe you still have your fancy place rented out yet.
Yep.
And so all of you make that. Morgan, are you going back to the temple?
Yeah, I was planning to go and maybe swap out a spell or two.
So when you get to the temple, you see Curate Malgorna waiting up for you.
Mm.
And she also has Captain Orifon sitting at a table with her. Morgan, it is so good to see you. We were hoping we would see you before we adjourned for the evening. Have you met Captain Orifon, the local Griffin leader?
I have. It's good to see you.
Yeah, I believe at one point in time you talked about potentially helping me to rally your clergy to help the moral fortitude of this district. So unfortunately, I know obviously you must have been pretty busy. So I just talked to Curate Malgorna here, and she has been just thrilled at the prospect of being able to get a little bit more authority in the district to make some potential changes. Would you care to mention this to her? And Malgorna is like, oh yes, we are going to be doing some official weights and measures work. We're going to be holding up some of the guilds to specific standards that Captain Orifon is going to be providing with us. And in addition to making sure that all of the local guilds are living up to their responsibilities to the city, we will be getting a certain fee back for providing the service, because people in other districts definitely trust the Church of Hermes to help moderate mercantile operations. So we really need to extend that information here. We need people to know that we're about more than just sending messages.
Contractor work. Okay.
And she looks over at you, and she gets a look on her face, and I'll leave it up to you to determine this. She goes, also, Captain Orifon is going to be helping me to evaluate the things that have been done through this temple to make sure that our temple can't be seen in a bad light. Now, obviously, as long as I'm streamlining this and I've come from a different temple in a different district, I am not going to be part of this, but we will be closely scrutinizing all past transactions and business dealings that have gone through this temple. And she looks at you very pointedly.
Okay. I'm thinking, I just corral the kids, Numbers don't cross my desk.
And, Captain Orifon gets ready to leave and goes, it's been a pleasure meeting you again, and I hope that we'll be able to work very closely vetting out any potential mistakes that have happened recently.
Yep. Have a good night. Be safe out there. Stay dry.
And I am going to say that since you now have the watch captain that specifically knows your name, I am going to give you a point of inspiration based on your the clergy is concerned with my larcenous tendencies. So you'll get inspiration, but yes, the watch is now kind of keeping a special eye on you at this point.
I haven't done anything recently.
But yes, now you can gladly relax and sleep easily. So, does anyone have anything that they want to do, or are you just ready to wake up in the morning and meet up?
I am swapping out a cantrip.
Okay.
Leave. Everything is
So
in order.
refresh me on the rules. This is not a spell. We get our spells back for full night's sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, you just don't get your hit points. You just get half your hit dice.
But we do get the spells.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I sit down before I crash for the night, and I make like I'm gonna go clean my pistol out, and then go.
No pistol.
I missed that gun already.
But you do have your shiny new axe.
I do.
It's not really a new axe. It's like a couple thousand years old, but
Yes.
It's still shiny. So where did you all plan to meet up?
Do we want to meet at outside the well or something?
Yeah, unless you guys want to have breakfast together.
I'm all down for breakfast together. I'm always down for
Start our day with a hearty meal before we go spelunking.
That's the way we find
for
Zen
carnal
Lane.
pleasures.
So, would you like to go to the moat house for breakfast?
Sure.
I mean, they don't sell a wide variety of things, but they do have food.
Yeah, that sounds great. Moat house for breakfast.
Want breakfast food now.
So, when you get there, one of the wait staff walks out and says, all right, so do you want the fried bread and gravy, or do you want bread?
Oh, gravy. Yes, gravy.
I recommend the fried bread and gravy.
Always with the gravy.
No eggs today.
Eggs are harder to get into the district right now.
Not even a bit of sausage.
Fried bread and gravy will do then, I guess.
I mean, in order to make the gravy, we got to make the meat last. So,
Oh God. It's water.
take that however you would like.
It's just meat water.
Really not going to go any farther than that.
Oh.
You there, dirty water dog vendor on the corner. Give me a cup of your finest water.
Oh goodness. So yeah, you can have your fried bread and gravy, and they also have the small beers that aren't overly alcoholic in content. So you can drink some bread too.
A little hair of the dog.
With the state of water in this area right now, it's probably the healthier option.
Yeah. So now that you have all had that wonderful meal,
Head on off to the well.
All right. So you catch one of the kids, and they skiff you over to the well, and you see at the well there is a crew from the Guild of Sanitary Excavators. There is a man with like the work overalls of the sanitary excavators that has like a crest on his showing that he's a ranking member of the guild.
Is the crest an Otyug?
It is now.
Their rank is denoted by pips on the Otyug.
It's the number of tentacles on the Otyug.
Nice.
Oh. So yeah, he's here. There is a wagon that is nearby that you are hearing like grumbling noises from, because guild rules say they have to have an Otyug available. So Sarah is in the cart.
I want to throw the last crust of bread that I had been saving for later into the grates.
Aww.
Friends for life.
It just comes out a little bit and like kind of waves at you. And at this point, the man keeps talking to Valkyrie Marley, and she's stressed. Someone killed her bodyguard. Someone broke into her place. Someone else wandered off with some of her books. And
who could that be?
And she is just like bleeding money right now. And she's worried that there's something cursed that's going to come up out of her well and destroy this place. So she is really glad that all of you have finally showed up to take care of this.
We've got this covered.
I hope so. This is a nightmare.
We're professionals,
The
ma'am.
next thing that comes out of this well will be us, or whatever killed us.
This is the way.
Oh goodness. So at this point, Gina walks over to you, the first person that you ever ran into from the Guild of Sanitary Excavators. And Gina's like, I am really glad to see all of you again, especially under these circumstances where you're not like scaring me by saying that there might be something horrible that's going to come up and murder people, and I might get blamed for it. Because now if something comes up to murder people, there's other people from the guild here, so I feel better about it. I mean, I'm not going to feel better about other people getting murdered. I feel better about not being the only person to do paperwork if someone gets killed. That still didn't sound any better. But I'm glad to see all of you again.
We get you. We understand.
Oh, and by the way, this is my boss. And she walks over and she introduces you to the person in the higher up work overalls. And
Many Otyug tentacles.
And she's like, this is my boss. And she kind of to the side also goes, it's also my dad. But
Ooh, you have 7 tentacles.
It's a pleasure to meet such a fine, high-ranking member of the guild.
Hi, my name's Kettrick.
How you doing, Kettrick?
And I'm going to say, because you've been in this district long enough, this is the famous person that pissed off Grandmother Shark that had her cut off the the sanitary excavators from being able to work in this district. This is the man that was competing with her over fighting monsters down in the sewers.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah,
And, you know,
you need to fix that.
he's an older man now, but he still looks pretty solid. He looks like he could wrestle a few dangerous creatures.
All right. So what's the deal here? How do we get down there? Is this climb a rope? We got ladders? We fall to our deaths? How do we get down there?
You have the finest guild-issued reinforced ladder. And what you see is, it is a rope ladder with like metal rungs on it.
Well, hopefully there's not a crocodile this time.
We got the good one.
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah, just look at that. That is a Mark 15.
There's nothing worse than climbing down a ladder like that and one of those wooden struts breaks and boop.
I know,
Right.
I know, exactly. And he looks over at his daughter and he goes, wow, these people they really understand.
I wink at her.
And over in the corner, you see someone else that is in the same kind of overalls that has the guild rank on them. And Garland, you recognize this as the woman who was described to you as the person that had been possessed years ago. And she's you chased her and she disappeared into the water, and she is kind of skulking around the corner of the well right now.
I'm going to like casually, like in conversation, like kind of like walking around the top of the actual well, maneuver myself so that I'm a little closer, and then I'm going to go into confrontation mode.
Okay. What do you do?
As soon as I get myself into a reasonably close proximity, I'm going to whirl on her and be like, we need to have a talk.
And she looks at you and she goes, me? And you hear this weird reverberation in your head. Like, not that it's her voice, but something else is echoing from her. And Kettrick looks over and says, oh, you've met my wife. And then all of a sudden, as you hear this happen, like, you see the woman that you have not seen for a while, like, all of a sudden kind of appears, like, from this sort of rift behind her and reaches out for your hand and screams.
Oh.
From behind Kettrick's wife. None of the rest of you see this, by the way. Garland, if you would, please give me a charisma save.
Oh, you had to say charisma.
Oh, no.
Really? Two.
Oh, goodness.
Wow.
Not one, not three, two.
So, not giving you any idea of what the outcome was. Let me check here. Nope, Garland does not have any inspiration.
No.
Morgan, would you like to say something to grant him inspiration, or you just want to see how this shakes out?
I'm thinking this might happen bit faster than. Sorry, Bob.
No, that's absolutely fine. I'm
short of running over and shoving her down the well, which did cross my mind.
well, let me make sure that I'm 100% clear here. The woman who was described as being the one who
is possessed by the Bleak one.
Possessed by the Bleak one.
By the angel.
Kettrick's wife.
Yes.
Gina's mom.
Yes.
Sitting in the corner.
Yep.
And then from behind her is that mysterious woman that I've been seeing all around the city, who then reaches out and the mysterious woman screams?
Yes.
Oh. She screams and reaches for my hand, right?
Yes.
I grab her hand.
Okay. So, nope, that's not the table I need.
Oh.
Consult random limb loss table.
No.
Wandering damage table?
So I did not take a spell.
not wandering monster.
Wandering damage. There's a difference.
You have encountered a 5d6. Oh goodness. All right. So you failed that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there they are. There.
That was multiple.
That is 20 points of psychic damage.
Woo!
Whoa.
But because you did reach out to her, you are very briefly in this odd place where you see everything that is around you, but it is distorted. Kind of picture like all of the buildings folding in on themselves in Doctor Strange, except, your usual neighborhood here. And you could swear like you're seeing everything folded into each other from stuff you're used to seeing, but you're also seeing like buildings that you haven't seen around that you don't remember seeing here, kind of thrown into the mix every place here and there. And while you are taking the psychic damage, because you grabbed her hand and kind of pulled her out of the in-between where she is at, I will give you a few brief moments to ask her some questions.
Who are you?
And she looks at you and she goes, I don't know. I just know that I was here in the Isles at one point in time, but then the part of the Isles that I was a part of isn't part of the world anymore. It like fell through a hole. And there's holes opening up all over the Isles, but when people fall into those holes, no one remembers that they were there before, because it's like it was never there. When it falls through the hole, it falls through the hole all the way back through time. It's an endless hole.
Okay, that's horrible. Well, I've got you. I've got a hold of you. I will try to bring you out.
I don't know if you can, because I can't remember who I am. I don't know my name. I don't know.
Maybe if I can pull you out, you will remember.
Maybe. And you feel like the longer you're holding on to her, the more she actually feels like she's dragging you towards her direction. And she says, I don't remember anything about myself, but I know things about the world now that I didn't know, that I wish I didn't know. Like, there were other neighborhoods that existed, and they have collapsed, and everyone forgot that they existed, and the world gets that much smaller when the neighborhood disappears. It's been happening over and over again, all over Avalon, and eventually there's not going to be anything left of the city, and no one will remember that it was ever here, because it's just falling in between the cracks over and over again.
I think I know that's kind of been happening, even though I didn't know it was specifically that. Hold on to me. I'm going to try and keep you here.
And as you say this, a crow flies up and lands on your shoulder. And the crow looks at you and says, it's no good, Garland. It's not going to last. She's going to get pulled away from you, or you're going to get pulled into this. But you know what? I'm just glad that you're on the case. And you recognize this voice. And he goes, I know you're just heroic enough to know that you're not going to let go. So sorry I have to do this. And he pulls his beak back and he pokes you in the eye.
Ah! Son of a...
Now, all of you saw Garland walk up and start talking to her, and he disappears for like a half second. And you all notice that he disappeared for like a half second.
I rush forward to where he was.
Just blink out of existence for a moment.
Also, Garland, you took 4 points of piercing damage from me.
Of course I did.
Ouch.
And sometimes people blink out of existence. It happens.
So yeah, Garland disappeared for a half a second and came back with his eye bleeding.
I'm like halfway through my first step towards him after he disappeared by the time when he comes back. Like
Okay.
my foot lands hard on the ground and I look around kind of stunned.
This is a lot to take in. There's so many things going on at the same time. Where's Mom?
She's still standing right in front of you. And she looks at you. The rest of you all just hear this nice, calm woman saying, "Oh my, what just happened? Are you okay?" And what Garland hears is, "Oh my, what just happened?"
Okay, Kettrick, Gina, I got bad news for you.
Oh, also, you do have inspiration now.
Hey, that might be important. This woman that I'm standing in front of is the one that was possessed by... Feed me. I can't remember.
The bleak one?
The Bleak one. Thank you. I've seen her before, and she was at one time, maybe not now, but at one time, and I think still now, possessed by the Bleak one.
And Kettrick looks at you and goes, I think I would know if my wife were possessed.
Or maybe not.
And he gets this like semi-charming smile on his face and goes, "She's too boring to be possessed."
You'd be surprised.
And she kind of chuckles at his joke. And Gina also laughs. She's like, "My mom possessed."
Right.
My mom's a mid-level functionary. Those people don't get possessed.
And I whisper to the Bleak one, "You've got them under your sway, don't you?"
"I don't know what you're talking about." And the rest of you hear her say, I don't know what you're talking about."
Oh, but that voice, I can tell. You can't fool me. I know who you are.
And this part, the rest of you do not hear, but you hear, "Well, if you'd like to provide me a different vessel, I can always hop over."
No, at this point, I don't think that would be wise.
"We haven't had a chance to meet in person. This is actually quite interesting. You've been more of a thorn in my side than I expected."
I'm going to be more than a thorn in your side.
"I mean, thanks to you, I had started recruiting more people here, and you stole some of my troops, and they didn't die until that angel, but then the angel started dropping people from the sky. I really have to move up my timetable now. Not that time means much."
I'm afraid you're going to find a lot of disappointment because we're going to stop you.
What are you going to stop me from doing?
Whatever plan you have. We don't know what it is yet, but we're going to stop you.
And Gina's mom is just kind of like looking at him strangely this whole time, and he keeps saying, you hear all of Garland's side of this conversation.
Yep. I look completely wackadoodle right now.
Oh, no,
That's
not
okay.
another one.
Hey, Morgan, do you have anything to banish a possession or cast out a spirit or...
Pull out my book.
What do you got?
See, I got atonement, bless water, dedication, weddings, funerals. I kind of flipped through a few pages. Well, maybe this one.
You trust me?
Sure.
The
Start
Bleak one.
talking about exorcisms. I kind of like back away to the other side of the room.
The Bleak one is in here.
Yes, I am completely comfortable in here. We don't need to evict me. And
We're gonna find a way.
Kettrick is like, I know we're being paid for this, but I can't help but feel like you're being a little insulting towards my wife. Are you going to dive into this well or not? Or should we just get going here? And Marley's like, oh, no, I paid way too much for people not to be diving into this place.
Watch your back.
And you hear the voice drift out of her. And again, the rest of you don't hear any of this. And the voice goes, it's all right. I have a backup.
Damn it. All right, that's going to be a problem for later. Let's go to the well.
All right. Are you ready to dive down into the well?
Like maybe climb the ladder down, but...
Well, okay. I mean, you could dive. It would be faster.
Yeah.
So before we go down,
Mm-hmm.
everybody gather around, and I pull out a piece of cork.
Oh, yeah. Before we go down, ow! Ow!
What with your
Ow!
eye?
Ow! Not just my eye, my brain. I got like some psychic, like somebody tried to scramble my eggs.
Okay, hold that thought. So I pull the cork out and humana. We now have water walk.
Okay.
Duration 1 hour.
Nice.
Mark that casted. And then, because let's see. I will cast a Cure Wounds on Garland as soon as I find 2d8. Oh, that's nice. You heal, math is hard, 15 points.
Nice.
Cool.
All right, anything else? Oh, and then I, what am I going to cast it on? I'm going to cast light on something. I'm a fan of having a pouch of rocks. So I have a pouch of rocks, and I cast
I like it.
light
Okay.
on one of the rocks, and I
Gotcha.
drop it down the well.
Okay.
So we have light down at the bottom now.
Okay. And if you look down, you can see there appears to be, the well does not look as deep as it could be. But what you see as this rock falls, it falls about 40 feet. And you kind of see that there's a floor 40 feet down. But the floor looks weird. Like there's almost like this circular pattern on the floor, but you can't see it in great detail because it's 40 feet away now.
I thought it'd be deeper.
Yeah.
All right. I'll go down first because
Okay.
unless Barrow wants to.
Get in trouble
Dive
again.
down.
I mean, I'm not. I'll go first. Sure, why not?
All right.
All right. So the ladder will make it to where you can't fall when you fail this check. So you will be making an athletics check to see if you pick up a level of exhaustion, because there's just something like, for this being a formal ladder, it's a little bit uncomfortable to reach onto it and climb down it. Like
Sure.
it's solid, but it's almost like too small, it's too close together.
But this is the good ladder.
It's a good ladder. It's a Model 15. So yes, who would like to go first and give me an athletics check?
I guess that's me.
All right.
And where's my die? There it is. All right. I think I might have to retire this die, but it's not terrible.
Punish it.
Because I know my athletics is up there. So I got a total of 14.
All right. So you got a 14. I'm not saying whether that's successful or not yet. Who would like to go next?
I'll go next.
Okay.
What am I rolling?
An athletics check.
Athletics. I'm super good at athletics. I got a 3.
Okay. I'm not telling you whether you made it or not yet. I just want to get everybody's first roll in here. And who's going next?
You want me to bring up the end this time, Morgan?
Sure. Though, y'all gotta let the cleric do some little buffy buffs before you go charging off here. But yeah, I'll go next because I am so great at athletics. That's a 12.
Okay. And Garland?
12.
All right. So, anybody that has inspiration, do you want to cash that in for what you rolled?
Yeah, I think I'm good.
I'm gonna cash mine in. I learned last time. That's a 17. That's a little bit better.
There we go.
Okay. And Zindlane, I don't believe you have inspiration, but
Nope.
if anybody would like to cheer you on, they
I
could
have
grant you
false-spiration.
All right, so I believe then, what all did everybody get? You got 17. You got, yeah,
14.
14. What did Garland get?
12.
Okay, so Zindlane, you have a level of exhaustion.
Well, where do I put that? Conditions. Exhausted. Yes?
Right now, that just means all of your ability checks are at disadvantage. Not saves or attacks, just ability checks.
Oh, 1 level of exhaustion. Got it. See it.
Although, it can really suck to have all of your ability checks at disadvantage.
Yeah. That doesn't sound like fun.
No. So when you get down here, you crawl down the trusty Mark 15, and you catch up with where the glowing rock that Morgan threw down here. And now that you are down here, you see it looks like there is a dial of some sort in 3 different spots around the outer edge of a circle. And what this looks like in this section is there is like a stone iris, like where all of the grooves are at in the floor look like they are touching each other but not connected.
Does that look like anything I've been reading about?
You know what? Give me a history check. We'll see if you picked up anything in those books. Oh, now you have to roll out with disadvantage.
Do I really?
Level of exhaustion.
Okay. Well, first roll was an 18. Second roll was a 16. So I got 16.
Okay. Yeah, you remember seeing something like this. There is some sort of combination for this sort of secondary location. This well does go deeper. It's got basically this was like an emergency hatch in case something got freed and you got to this point, you could seal it off. And this takes people at each of the locations being able to manipulate the dials properly at the same time in order to get the iris to circle open.
Well then.
Well, indeed.
I'll explain that to the rest of the. I'll explain the symbolism meaning to the rest of the party.
So yeah, and the dials have a bunch of like glyphs all around them. Like there's like a handle that you can pick up and move to different positions that would cause them to point at different glyphs. And from what Zinlane has read,
do they all have to point at the same glyph, or do they all have to point at different glyphs?
One way to find out.
We'll just poke around randomly.
Is there an instruction manual that tells you which glyphs to point at what?
I was gonna say, is there anything in your books?
I wasn't allowed to bring those with me. Last time I brought a book into a well, never mind.
So I will say that the glyphs have have either religious or arcane significance. So if you would like to make either a religion or an arcana check, you can analyze these glyphs to see if you can remember any specific meaning towards any of them.
All right, I'm going to make an arcana check.
Can I do a check too? I'm looking at them.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Okay, cool.
I'm explaining all the wonderful things that I'm looking at. So first roll is a 16, second roll is a 3.
So Zinlane, you're looking at this and going, that looks really familiar and it hurts my eyes. I can't look at it anymore.
Oh, well, I rolled a 1, so.
Jeez.
Wow. Unfortunately, I don't know much about arcana or religion. I got some history, but
I mean, you can make the check unskilled. It's just
I could.
Then you have to, if you randomly made the check, you have to explain to me how you came up with it.
6.
Nope. It's all on you, Borrow.
I was just going to say, you don't want me doing it because I'm just going to turn stuff randomly.
There you go. Make a luck check.
I'm all for it. I'll do it.
Oh, goodness.
I don't know if I have anything that can really... I guess it is, let's see, arcana or religion. Yeah, no, that's... I can try for it.
Well, what you do know for sure from what Zinlane saw is that all 3 of these have to be moved at the same time. So what if you're going to do it randomly, you still have to kind of communicate to everyone else which thing you're going to move it randomly to. I will tell you this. If you want to try and mechanically take this apart and manipulate the things, I will give you a certain difficulty for that. If you want to randomly pick something, I will give you a different difficulty to see if you randomly hit on the proper combination. But you do have to be able to, if you're going to go the route of randomly, you have to like yell out to everyone else to do it at the same time.
All right, I guess I am going to take a look at it mechanically then.
Okay. I will say, you can analyze it mechanically first. If you fail, you might damage the mechanism and not be able to open it.
Hey, I can't fail.
That's the attitude.
Somebody's sleeping on the couch tonight.
All right, so the first I'm gonna say it's probably a thieves tools proficiency intelligence check, because you're just kind of probing it with different things to see how it clicks and where it connects.
Okay. I don't add any ability modifiers, do I?
Yeah, it'd be an intelligence.
Okay. Intelligence. Oh, the thing I don't have a bonus on.
Don't worry, guys.
Intelligence plus it. Hey, at least I get my proficiency bonus.
Yes, you do.
8.
Wow.
So you have a tool in there and you're trying to, like slide it down to feel like where you could like kind of pry loose the mechanisms to try and manipulate it without going through. And one of your tools breaks off in there. And you're pretty sure if you try and manipulate this one with your tools, it could make things worse right now. Like right now it can still pick up and move, but your tool is kind of wedged in there.
Okay, I was gonna say if I try to extract it, but
We are so good at this.
yeah. Wait. Oh no, I guess you already gave me the results. Damn, I was gonna say I've got inspiration.
You know what? I will let you spend the inspiration. I'll be nice tonight.
I'm going to use something other than my game science dice die. That's not giving me any good luck tonight.
Tell Google to roll.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna use the roller on here.
Hey Google, shit, save my ass.
Last night I got 2 natural 20s.
Okay, that's way better. I got an 18 that time.
Okay. So yeah, you feel like now it started to break off, and then you kind of thought you were going to break it for a minute, and you had that moment of indecision where it's like you either push through and the tool comes loose, or it just snaps. So you push through and it comes loose, and you have a pretty good feel mechanically for which one you need to turn this to. So you see the glyph here that looks like what you need to turn it to.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if you want to assume that all of them need that, or if you want to analyze the other two.
Well, I point out and I said it needs to be set. This one needs to be set on here. Does that make sense to anybody?
Your magically smart people apparently skipped class the day
That's a glyph.
Hey, I have an intelligence of 10. I steal things. I'm not necessarily smart.
Your intelligence is higher than mine, Morgan.
So Borrow doesn't have a bonus. Morgan has a 10.
Blaine has a 9.
We are the smart bunch.
We have learned.
We lost it with
the
the druid. Or,
we lost our smart person.
the bird. The bird
He turned
was
into
the
a bird and flew away.
he's like, I'm done with these dumbasses.
I say we all turn them to the same thing, and if it blows up, it blows up.
Or I could try another one.
You want to try another one?
I was going to say, nobody mute yourself. Nobody touch anything else until I can bless you.
Okay.
Stop jumping the gun.
Bring
All right.
the holy holy.
Yeah. So you going to diddle the next dial?
Ooh.
Yes.
We are explicit. You have been.
It's that kind of game now.
I mean, I've heard it called the devil's doorbell before, but okay, we've gone there.
Oh, wow.
So we're in the well, right?
Moment.
Oh.
I think it did done broke some people.
Oh, goodness.
It's a feedback loop because she keeps laughing and it keeps me going.
Oh, my goodness.
Does anybody else feel the stress of the week just kind of flying away?
I was going to have us take a break after we had all the dials diddled, but I think I'm going to call for the break now to see if we can catch our break. And we'll be back in about 10 minutes here. All right, so we are back, and I believe that Morgan was planning on casting guidance on someone before they examined the next of these.
Or he shoves his tool in there and breaks it off.
Yep.
Don't start that again.
Crazy.
All right.
So that's one extra D4. Or do you roll that or do I roll that?
You have an extra D4.
Yeah, I usually the person that got guidance rolls it.
Okay, will do.
Wait, does Morgan cast this the way she usually casts it for Borrow?
slap across the head. Don't screw this up, idiot.
The somatic component for this is Denozo.
Okay, your guidance did a whopping 1 extra, but I rolled a 13 plus 2 or plus 3, so 16.
All right.
17.
So your tool does not get stuck in the dial. And as you jiggle it around, you feel like it is latching somewhere close to the same glyph as the other one.
Yeah.
All right, they all got a match.
Looks like
I'm
it's all the
convinced.
same. All right, guys, we need to have all 3 of these match. Who wants to step right up?
I'll do one.
I point at Garland and Zinlane, and I put my fingers in my ears.
Okay, I'll do the other one.
Well, actually, Zinlane, if this is an ability check, is going to be a disadvantage for it.
Oh, no. Yeah. Zinlane yawns, and I'm like, oh, okay.
All right, everyone, give me a dexterity check.
Okay, so we're going to do this on 3.
Actually, if you have sleight of hand, I will let this be a sleight of hand check.
Yes, I
There you
do.
go. 1, 2, turn on 3, or 1, 2, 3, turn.
Well, it's a good thing I have good sleight of hand.
I have
I
no
would
sleight of
say the
hand.
same thing because I rolled a 6 plus 6, so 12. Oh, no, that's an 8. So 14.
I rolled a 6 plus 5 is 11.
Okay.
Did
Garland.
Bob roll a
Suck it, son. I got a 21, baby.
All right. So the difficulty was only 10 to match the speed of everyone else turning it. So I actually had different levels of how many failures you got as to how bad it was. And since all 3 of you succeeded, all of you do this and it clicks and you hear this grating noise and the iris, the pieces of the stone iris, like slide down a little bit and then start recessing in. And as it's recessing in underneath, you can see like this whole circular area that looks kind of damp. So you're thinking like all this pumping pumps some water from underneath this iris too. It slides out a circular staircase from the wall as the iris is opening.
Man, this is some sophisticated, like, construction.
It is making me a little apprehensive of what might be trapped at the bottom.
Yes.
Just saying. Also, we've got a possessed woman upstairs, too, so...
It actually
That in
left
mind.
her, I think. It said it had a backup, so I think it may have jumped out of the body because I was, like, too clued in.
Well, it
Or
knows
I
where
could
we
be-
are, so...
Okay. Wants to
head on
go
down the
first down
staircase.
into the...
All right. So for
Oh,
walking...
I want to toss a light rock down there.
Okay. When you do it this time, you hear a bloop.
Good thing we all got water walk right now.
So the spiral stairs seem to go another like 40 feet down. And at the bottom, there is still water.
Wow, that's a
Do
long
not
way
let
down.
Borrow go first.
Can you not water walk when you have a water walk spell? Can you choose to?
I should have looked this up because they had a big, long discussion on Critical Role about this. But that involved, people turning into orcas and water skiing.
Oh, wow.
Well then,
I won't go into anything else if people haven't listened to it yet. But let me look up water walk really quick, just so we're all on the same page.
No, I'm over here talking and I'm muted. Duration 1 hour. Spell grants the ability to move across any liquid surface. Up to 10 willing creatures during the duration. If you target a creature submerged, the spell carries the target to the surface of the liquid at a rate of 60 feet per round. That's all it says.
All right. So it sounds like if you could go under, but then you would naturally drift back up.
Okay.
If you tried to force yourself under.
Just in case that's important.
Yeah.
All right.
So you can't stay underwater. You just naturally kind of go back up. All right, then. So who's going to go down the stairs first?
I'll go.
Hey, Garland, give me a dexterity save.
Yay, dexterity. At least it's a dexterity saving throw, which I have. That'd be an 18.
All right. So there is a lot of like slippery, like almost kind of like algae-ish buildup on these stairs.
Sure.
And it gets a little slick, but you're fine as you're going down there. Who's coming up behind Garland?
I suppose I will. Or
Go for it.
okay. All
I'm
right.
a little sleepy. You go. You offered first.
So yes, please give me a dexterity save, Barrow.
While he's doing that, I'm going to pat Zinlane on the shoulder and give him guidance.
The nice thing is it's a save, so he's not at a disadvantage for this one.
Oh, good.
Modified 20.
Okay. So yeah, you feel like the squishiness on the stairs and you slip a little bit, but you feel pretty solid. You're close to the ground. You got a low center of gravity. All right. Zendlane, would you like to go next?
Yep. So the guidance gives me plus 1d4.
Yep.
Oh wow. Natural 20
Wow.
plus 1, so 21 plus 1 is 22.
Oh yeah. So yeah, you barely even notice that it's slippery. Actually, this is probably what's funny is everyone else is like being very careful and Zenlane's just like walking.
I danced down the stairs.
All right, Morgan, let's see how you do.
I fully expect to fall on my ass. It's just a dex save, correct?
Yeah.
Not acrobatics?
No.
Okay. 16.
All right. So you make it down all right as well. Yeah, it's a save because it's just random spots that are slick and it was hard to pick them out. So it's not like you can really plan for it. It's just sort of, yep, didn't fall. So you make it down this spiraling, 40-foot staircase. And when you get to the bottom, this area is flooded out and there appear to be 3 alcoves.
Light rocks.
If you shine a light over towards the alcove that is straight across from the stairs, you see what looks like a big pile of rubble, and you can just barely see further recessed in appears to be a wall that looks very much like one of the seals.
But it looks like it's intact.
Yeah, but there's a bunch of rubble in there. Also, when you shine the light there, the water isn't super clear, but you kind of see that it looks like this staircase that you're on would have gone down another like 10 feet, and then there are stairs that lead up to these alcoves. So actually, this puts you level with them, even though normally you would have to walk down to the bottom and walk back up to them.
What do the other 2 alcoves look like?
All right, so when you shine a light into one of them, you see an image, and what you see there is a picture of a man, a big burly man, and he has a hammer in one hand and a spear in the other, and there is what looks like a noose made of chain hanging in this alcove.
Is anybody in the noose?
Nope.
And the person with the hammer is a statue, right?
Yes.
A statue or a painting, fresco?
No, it's a stone carving.
Well, that looks ominous.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this is probably simple enough. Morgan, you actually do have religion, correct?
That is correct.
So this is a representation of Odin.
Of course it is.
And then you said you're going to shine the light to every alcove there. So the third alcove is like oppressively dark. Like it must be some sort of magical thing darkening that
Eating the
alcove.
light.
Yeah.
Don't like that.
So which one is the best one? What's wrong with it, Morgan?
Does Zendlane have Devil's Sight?
Do I have Devil's Sight? That's a good question. I don't think so. That's not the...
You may not. I just didn't know if that was one of the things that you had with your pact.
No, I got Eyes of the Runekeeper, and
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
That I believe that's an infernal. I just wasn't sure.
Let me see.
No, I do not have Devil's Sight. I considered it, but I wanted to read anything.
So, before I open my big mouth, make sure pretty sure I have a bunch of torches. Yeah, I have some torches. So I am going to light a torch.
Okay.
I got a torch. I got my light rock. Going to throw my light rock at the darkness. Because this is going to end well. But I'm curious.
That is a cantrip, correct?
The light, yes.
So when you throw that in there, the light is just consumed. It does not dispel the darkness.
I figured. I attack the darkness with my light rock.
And then a gazebo arrives.
Well, I got nothing.
Oh, all right.
Well,
fine.
When she throws the rock in there, do we hear it land?
Yeah.
Okay.
It sounds like it hit stone.
Man, I don't want to burn through all my spell slots.
No, let's just...
I walk over to the darkness.
Yeah.
Thought I had Dispel. Where the hell? Oh, I do have Dispel magic. Okay.
I put my hand.
Oh no!
Darkness.
Oh no! I've seen that episode.
You put your hand in the darkness, huh?
And then I go, ah, ah, at the top of my lungs. And then I turn and I grin at everybody. Which will be all the more hilarious when my arm gets ripped off by the whole that's in the darkness.
So you're standing on the water.
Uh-huh.
And you reach in there into the darkness and you do your thing. How far away is everyone from Garland when he's doing this? Not that it matters. I'm just wondering.
Pretty close.
I'm within 10 feet.
Okay, that's what I figured.
How far is the spiral staircase from the darkness?
About 20 feet total.
Then I'm
I'm
about
probably how far is the noose chain room from?
That is 20 feet the other direction.
Okay, I'm kind of like peering into the noose chain room while he's doing that.
So yeah, the rubble is 20 feet forward. The noose room is 20 feet to the left. The darkness room is 20 feet to the right.
Cool.
Awesome.
I'm like anxiously looking back and forth between Zendlane and Garland. I'm like, I only got so many spell slots, guys.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, nothing. It's all fine.
We got this.
Okay. Gotta scroll to the right PDF here. Not that I'm looking anything up.
Oh no.
Okay. Of course, it looks it up in the index first. Okay, that is, there we go. Okay, so Garland, you do your joking, putting your hand in and pulling it back out, and like you turn around and kind of laugh, and Morgan sees this this tentacle come back out from from the darkness as you turn around with your back to it.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. Oh, that sounds bad. So, oh God, I am horrible.
Oh no.
That was a 20.
No. No.
Bring it! Oh my goodness.
Garland, why did you do that? That was a lot of dice. Jared's doing math.
Don't you worry about me.
All right, so the tentacle comes out and touches you, and you take 21 points of necrotic damage.
Oh,
Holy
Only 21?
shit.
Garland's having a bad day.
Well, the nice thing is whenever I roll a crit, I usually roll worse than if I just do the normal damage for the thing. So yeah, Garland, you turn around and you're kind of joking, and all of a sudden this ghostly tentacle reaches out and it basically goes through your chest and then comes back through. So it is partially insubstantial.
Oh no.
And when it comes out all the way, what you see, players will probably know this, but I'm going to try and describe this as horrifically as possible. You see a huge fish, and by huge I mean like bigger than any of you.
Mm-hmm.
And this fish has 3 eyes stacked on top of one another, and this huge maw filled with teeth. And it also has 4 tentacles coming off of its head in, 2 above and 2 below. And in addition to it being this horrid looking 3-eyed fish with tentacles, it's also kind of rotted through in a few places. So there's like some bone and some rotted meat sticking through this fish as it comes out.
Now we're talking.
That smells wonderful.
Now we're digging where there's taters. All right.
Is that a New York saying?
No.
And as it's like coming out, it's like, oh, I was down here for so long and I couldn't feed on anything, but I feel better now that I feel less. But I could stand to absorb some more knowledge.
How do you react to that, Garland, that tentacle going through your chest?
My eyes go wide and I go, oh shit. And then I move away from it as rapidly as I can.
Oh, let's roll initiative. That sounds like a fun thing to do now.
Hey, the warlock's got knowledge. Eat him.
Holy crap, I rolled good for initiative too.
Oh, I'm just rolling like shit tonight.
Not so good.
Good thing I've got extra initiative.
Yeah.
I'm gonna swap out D20s.
What did Garland get for initiative?
I've got a 7.
Ooh. And what did Morgan get?
16.
Okay. And what did Barrow get?
9.
Ooh.
9.
And Zinley?
14.
Okay, so poor Garland got a tentacle through the chest and he still goes last. All right. So
I'm sure it's quite a shocking experience. So
the dead-looking tentacle fish makes its way out of the darkness, and it is going to solidify, so it is no longer, partially insubstantial. And okay, yeah, that'll work. So the first tentacle slaps Garland and does a 19 hit you.
Unfortunately, yes.
it's been nice knowing everybody.
So that is 14 points of blunt damage. And yep, that's what I thought. So it has 10 feet reach. So from behind Garland, it's going to whip out and it's going to attempt to hit Barrow. Does a 22 hit Barrow?
No, I have ungodly AC. No, yes, it hits.
21 bludgeoning damage.
Ouch.
Does a 13 hit Morgan?
Morgan's still at the stairs.
Oh, okay. You were still back there. That's
Yeah.
right. You were saying that when... So does a 13 hit Zindlane?
13 does not. I have an armor class of 14.
So it flails these tentacles around and does not hit any more of you. And I gotta check something.
Morgan is at the stairs, and I think that's where she's gonna stay.
All right, and it is using its bonus action, and it is now fading into a partial incorporeal state.
Ooh, I can do that too. Let's play a game.
So Morgan, you're actually 20 feet away from this, but what would you like to do?
Sorry, I'm reading the spell real quick, see if I want to use it yet. Okay, I'm going to hold that in reserve. I am going to cast... Ooh, that's nasty. I'm going to cast a 2nd level Guiding Bolt.
Okay.
Well, does a 12 hit?
I have a bad feeling. No.
Okay. Well, that sucks. Man, I'm going to need to dig out a new D20 here. And I'm going to stay put.
Okay.
Y'all have fun. It makes you feel better. I think all of you have more hit points than I do, so you'll be all right.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Me next, right?
yes.
So, rules question.
Mm-hmm.
Is a move action a bonus action, or is that a different action than a bonus action?
No, you just get a certain amount of movement on your turn.
Okay,
It's
so I
not-
can move, attack, and use a bonus
Yep.
action. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. But I'm
You
going to
sure
bonus
can.
action, then move and attack. So as a bonus action, I'm going to cast my Wrathful Smite. My Wrathful Smat.
Yeah.
Righteous splat.
Yeah. And I'm going as I start forward and I start cursing at the thing for injuring my friend, and the language changes from halfway through like 2 words in the language changes from common to like the dwarven speak.
Don't like that.
as shadowy tendrils like move down my weapon, and I slash at the tentacle as it's hopefully as it's retreating back into the shadow.
What weapon are you using?
I don't have the weapon that I got last session written down because I'm an idiot, and I think I lost my documentation. So
I think at this level, it's just a magical longsword, but I don't have a bonus yet.
I'm attacking with a magical longsword.
Okay. Then if you're doing that, yeah, for some reason I needed to know that.
Whatever it is, it's my
mystery
hex.
Indeed.
It's also my hex weapon. So
Okay.
all right, so I attack. Oh, I rolled a 20.
Nice.
Do I roll again? Is that how this works?
Yeah, you roll the number of dice that you would roll.
Oh, so I don't need to
Twice.
confirm it?
No. Thank goodness.
All right. And I roll 2 dice and just add my strength damage once?
Yes.
Or my weapon damage, yeah.
Thank goodness there's no longer ×4 critical weapons.
9 plus 4 is 13 damage.
All right. Da-da-da. Not bloodied yet.
Oh! But I hit it with my smitiness.
Yes.
So it has to add. I do an additional 1d6 psychic damage.
So you actually do 2d6 because you double the dice that you roll
shoot,
on a
really?
crit. Yeah.
Nice.
Smiting was good for a crit.
that's 11 more damage.
Nice.
And it needs to make a wisdom check against my spell DC, which is 15.
Okay. Wisdom. It might be good at that. Yep, 21.
Okay. It is not frightened of me.
No. And actually,
I guess assuming that it is a creature, it had to make that wisdom save.
Yeah, it's a creature, but
Okay.
like the as you hit it with this, you get the feeling it might not be able to be scared.
Right.
All right then. So that would be Zindlane's turn. Barrow, what would you like to do? Actually, first, before that happens, sorry. Zindlane, you were using the dwarf's language.
Yes.
And this thing goes, is that void speech that I hear? And the rest of you hear it talking, but you don't understand the words. Zindlane, you completely understand it.
Void speech. No, this is just my friend. This is how I talk to my friend.
Yes, you're speaking void speech. That is what you're doing right now.
Shut up and die.
so Barrow. Oh.
I am going to jump in with a 2-sword stabby.
Okay.
First roll is natural 20.
Wow.
What?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And then
If there was anything you should be getting a crit against, it should be this thing.
Yeah. And then the second sword is 14.
14 does not hit.
Okay. So roll that. So that is 12. And then my sneak attack damage is another 9. So 21 damage total.
Okay. Unfortunately, you notice because it is partially incorporeal, you damage it, but not as much as you would normally.
It's all right. It's okay.
However, it is bloodied now. Garland, you who have suffered most at this thing's hands. Well, tentacles.
Yeah. So when that second tentacle slaps me for bludgeoning damage, I actually go and like drop to one knee for a half a second.
Yeah, I know what happened.
I shake my head a little bit and I straighten back up and go, oh, hate that.
Go Super Saiyan.
For my bonus action, I'm going to use my second wind.
All right.
And that is going to be a D10 plus my fighter level. Nice, which is 14 hit points. Which feels much better than I did 2 seconds ago. And then...
I've been getting a lot of psychic, or no, I guess that was necrotic last time.
Yeah. And then I give it a couple of whacks with my Sword. All right. You know what? I have 2 of these. Let's roll both of them. Oh, so close. The first attack is a 24, so I know that hits.
Yes, that does hit.
Second one is a... Oh, shit, that's a 14. That missed. So I do a whopping 9 points of damage. But I don't do 9. Because...
Yeah, as you hit it, like, you know, the sword passes through a lot of it before it actually hits anything chunky. And but you do some damage to it. All right. So oh, that would be really cool if somebody would do that. Okay, so now so that would be Borrow, you did not move back, did you?
I did not.
All right. So on its turn, would all of you like to give me a Constitution save?
Good at that. Wait, saves I'm good. Yeah. Oh, never mind. I got a 6.
14.
15.
You say con?
Yes. Morgan, actually, you're out of range for this. It's
This is
only
where
within
I'm
5
liking
feet
it.
of it.
Constitution saving throw is my bread and butter.
Same.
Oh. 13?
All right. So if anyone got a 14 or higher, you do not take this damage, but the rest of you take 7 cold damage.
This guy's just all over the board. We got necrotic, we got bludgeoning, we got cold.
All right. So, and it is in its partially ethereal form. So that means it's using Withering Touch this time. All right. First Withering Touch. Borrow, does a 21 hit you?
So let me see. What is my bonus? I can add.
Is that within your parrying range?
Yeah, that's the. There we go. No. I mean, it does hit, but I can half the damage on this one.
Okay, so. That is 14 necrotic damage.
Damn, that was half.
No, 14 is the full damage. So yeah, it's 7 necrotic for you.
Okay, that's not as bad. That I tell you what, that uncanny dodge gives me a lot more survivability.
All right, and Zindlane, you're partially. Wow, he's rolling good to hit. So that is a 23 to hit.
Yeah, that hits.
That is 15 necrotic damage to Zindlane.
Ouch.
And Garland.
Here it comes.
More necrotic damage. That's the 23 to hit.
Of course.
That is 11 necrotic damage for Garland.
This time I go down.
Ah, shit. I'm not a healer. It's not my purpose in life.
So, Morgan.
Oh, yeah. No, I am...
Garland is floating on top of the water.
At least he's not drowning.
It's like a goldfish.
I'm going to... Oh, don't do that. I'm going to cast Guiding Bolt at first level because I don't want to burn through all my second level spells. What the hell, man? Does a 16 hit?
No, it just barely misses.
What the hell? All right, well, that's all I got. Whatever's going on over there, you better knock it off.
All right. So, yeah. That would move us to Zindlane.
All right, I am going to spells.
I want to point out that I've tried to cast Guiding Bolt like 8 times during this campaign, and not once has it hit.
No, you hit once because you hit the garland bug that was on the roof.
No, that was the cantrip that I hit it with.
Okay.
That was Sacred Flame. It wasn't Guiding Bolt.
Okay.
So I used all my spell slots trying to cast Guiding Bolt on it.
I knew you hit something when it went up on the roof. So, all right, Zindlane. What would you like to do to the creepy, partially insubstantial fish monster?
I'm going to swing my sword at it again, but I'm not going to cast any spells this time.
Okay.
Actually, fuck it. Nope. Gonna keep my spell. I'm gonna sing the sword. See if it hits. Nope. 9.
No, that does not. Okay. Borrow.
All right. So he hit me with that necrotic damage, and I managed to skate some of it off, but I'm going to come back in, slashing at it with my 2 swords again. So first roll is... Oh, you're fucking kidding me. I critted again.
That's probably good.
And then the second roll is a 19 to hit.
That will hit.
Okay, first damage. First damage is 9. Oh, that sucks for a crit damage. Second roll is a 6, so we're up to 15, and then my sneak attack is another 7, so 22.
Okay. So I would say it's looking rough, but it's a partially insubstantial rotting fish with tentacles. So okay.
It's looking rougher.
Yeah. There's even more exposed meat and rotting pieces on it. Garland, would you like to give me a death save?
I would love to give you a death save. That's a flat number, right?
Yeah.
No.
That's a no
You
good.
didn't. You didn't, did you?
What'd you
5's
roll?
not going to cut it.
Oh,
Oh.
okay. I thought it was a 1.
Yeah, I was thinking it was a
That's
1.
Very bad.
No, but 5's not going to cut it.
Because
So.
1 is automatically 2 failures.
2 fails.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't roll ones, please.
All right. So
Friendly neighborhood cleric does not like ones rolled on death saves.
Garland is getting ever so much closer to the void. So wait, if you're killed by it, never mind. Anyway, this time instead of attacking, it is going to focus its brain on someone.
Oh.
And the person that it's going to focus the sum totality of its psychic ability on is Zindlane.
I was picturing that.
You fool.
Seats
You
taken.
Zindlane, would you like to give me a wisdom save?
Oh no.
10.
Okay.
Would you like inspiration to?
Yeah, I was gonna say if you might be inspired by seeing your friend bleeding out on the ground, Garland can give you his inspiration.
I don't know. How bad is it?
It's up to you. How bad is it? It's touching your mind.
Pretty sure 10's a no good.
Maybe the mind should touch back.
but I kind of want to know what happens. I'm going to take it.
Okay. All right. So, you feel a presence in your mind, and
Getting kind of crowded in there now, isn't it?
What is it, Tuesday?
Okay, and?
all right. So, unfortunately, you cannot take actions unless directed by this creature.
Oh,
And
goody.
your friend is like going,
no.
why are you not, why are you feel funny? Why are you're letting someone else touch your mind?
Not letting. It hurts.
So, unfortunately, this is not one where you get to,
Hold on.
you get to roll at the end of your turn. However, if you were to take damage, you can make another roll.
Yeah.
So if your friends want to kick the shit out of you for your own good.
I mean, I'm not above it.
1 second.
All right.
Hold on 1 second. I want to make sure that I don't get... is this a charm?
This is a charm.
I have advantage on those saving throws.
All right. Well then, roll that other die.
It's like,
and see.
hold on. That sounds like it
Roll
might
that
be a
double
charm. Oh. 11.
For a brief moment, you fought it back a little bit, but then it's right back in your head.
Yeah.
And like you hear the other voice saying, I want to be introduced to your friend. It seems fascinating in here. There's so much going on.
Virtual playground.
All right, so that's its turn. Morgan, you just see like Zindlane suddenly go slack-jawed after the thing stares at him with its 3 eyes.
So I got one dude laying on the ground bleeding out. I got another one who's about to start drooling on himself.
More
Got a halfling.
drooling.
I was going to say, you still got me.
It doesn't make me feel any better. I really want to hit with this. I'm going to cast Guiding Bolt again.
Okay.
I really want this to work because it does cool stuff. That's much better. It's a 24 hit.
Yes, it does. Kick its ass.
Booyah.
What the hell? Oh, that is a... Okay. Sometimes when you have the special die, and it sometimes the little symbol is a 1, and sometimes it's a 6. This time it's a 6. That's 10. 17 radiant damage.
Nice. The nice thing that you know because you use radiant damage is if you take it to 0 without doing radiant damage, other things happen. But since you blast it with radiant damage, its entire body is suffused with light, and suddenly it burns away from the inside and then just explodes. So there's like bits of undead fish goo on everybody. But Zindlane, you feel you feel much better as suddenly the presence of this ancient thing, and this thing feels even older than your dwarf friend in your head.
Now there's only 3 people in my head.
Ow.
Take 2
Ow.
aspirin and call me in the morning.
Oh. Why did it do that?
So
Why did you let him in?
he was like, I can't be everywhere at once. So, Zindling, would you like to take an action before Garland has to make another death save?
Yeah. I'm gonna writhe in pain.
Okay.
Sorry, Garland. I will notice you in a moment.
Witness me.
I mean, as long as Garland doesn't roll a 1, I can save him. Just to roll that 1.
Let's see. I wouldn't have been much good. Even if it wasn't right.
Are we ready?
Well, Barrow could try and stabilize you if you would
Yeah,
like.
I'll probably run over and try to do that for you.
It is only a DC 10 medicine check.
Only.
I roll a 13.
Ooh.
Nix.
So Barrow runs over and stuffs some actually I'm trying to picture what your first aid would be since it necroticed you.
TPR.
Breathe,
God damn it! Breathe.
I imagine he's got like the swirling kind of black smoke around him, and like the like Princess Mononoke, the little like squiggly black goo stuff, and just start like ripping it off of him and removing it from him.
All right, yeah,
causing him more damage.
You pull the tendrils of necrotic goo off of Garland, and Garland is immediately stabilized.
Yay. That hurt. What happened? Did you kill it?
Yeah, Morgan blew it up.
I don't know, but that thing hurts. I'm gonna have a headache for days. This is like I need a drink. I haven't had a headache like this since.
Oh hell, I'm still unconscious.
I was gonna say I don't think
said shit.
You're not conscious for another hour yet.
Sly, you guys just burn through my spell slots, don't you?
I guess we'll carry you out of here.
No, I'll cast Cure Wounds on him. See what I got. You're only getting a level 1 this time, though. Have 5 hit points.
Yeah, baby. I'm back.
It's on your feet. That's all I got for you. I am not a healer.
Well, you found out something that was in the darkened alcove.
Is it darkened anymore?
Anything else in there?
Yes, it is still dark.
You want to stick your hand in there again?
Did you pull out this time?
I'm not going in there.
I pull the fake hand out of my backpack and stick that in.
I mean, nothing's grabbing anything that you're sticking in there, but
Did you see anything in there, Garland?
he just stuck his hand in and
Stuck my hand in, and then I
aggravated it.
got the crap knocked out of me. Yeah, so
Scary dark things sitting Lane. Why don't you stick your head in there?
Stick my head in there.
If you first stick your head in there, it's still black. Do you want to keep moving forward?
Yes.
You're about 5 feet in right now. Okay, another 5 feet in, still black. Would you like to move
hold
forward?
my arms out.
You can feel like one side of the alcove. The alcove is about 10 feet across. So if you kind of shift one way, you can feel the wall on one side. If you shift the other way, you can feel it on the other side.
I'm definitely like doing the stutter step forward, so I don't like step into a hole and ass over tea kettle. Nothing else in here.
You're 10 feet in. You can feel the walls on the side. You can still move forward some, but you don't see anything through the darkness yet.
No, I'm going to turn around and go back.
Okay.
It's really dark in there. What was I supposed to find?
Anything?
So I got
So
I got
we
one
are
more-
here looking for Or a piece of chain? We're looking for more chains. Yes? No.
You in the alcove straight ahead of you, you can see a wall that looks like one of the seals that you've been looking for, and that's in the room with all the rubble in it.
So did the chain noose have runes on it?
Have you gone close enough to the alcove to look in there?
Not yet, but I think that might be next thing we do.
Okay. If you get closer to that alcove, you see the statue of Odin, you see the noose, and you see some writing on the wall. Zindlane, you can read almost anything, can't you?
Uh-huh. Yes, I can.
Oh, Zinlane can read the writing on the wall. It says, "You guys should not be down here."
The writing says, though it is lamentable, we can only promise to seal this for 100 years for each life given in service to the House of Odin.
How many lives? How long has it been?
It's writing. It doesn't answer you.
I'm still asking.
What does it say?
It says it can only seal it for 100 years for each life that was given by the House of Odin. I'm also going to cast False Life on myself to get some hit points.
Okay.
Wait, did they kill people down here?
Apparently, no, they sacrificed people.
No,
Important distinction.
people sacrificed themselves.
That
Yes.
yes.
No, I'm not splitting that hair.
Yeah, what you get is there's probably some kind of ward that is activated if someone is willing to hang themselves on this.
Oh.
On this noose.
Oh, jeez.
It's a wow.
That got dark real
Not
fast.
volunteering.
Time to find the hermit.
Two birds with one stone.
Right.
Nope, right out of here.
All right, so that's two alcoves that you've sort of explored.
The last one is the rubble on the wall, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Does
let's start
anybody know
moving
how to
rubble.
get-
How big are the rocks?
Pretty big.
Oh, okay. So my mage hand isn't going to be much help here.
You can probably move some of the smaller pieces.
What does the rune look like?
I mean, it's the same kind of seal that you saw in that first. If it wasn't smashed in the middle,
Is it broken?
this one isn't. No. Do you enter this alcove?
Yes.
Okay. So, I really appreciate player characters that are not cautious, because the story will advance one way or another.
Sorry.
Caution is for suckers.
Do you do this? Uh-huh. That sounds like a bad idea. Yep.
Nope. Oh goodness! So as soon as you set, you don't actually set foot because you're standing on the water in the alcove. But as soon as you move into the alcove, the rubble starts to rumble, and some of it is underneath the water, but all of the stones seem to start like rolling together.
Oh, rubble, rubble.
Oh no, Rolling Stones.
It's a rubble, rubble.
And by the time they're finished rolling together, you see a humanoid figure.
I've fought this boss before.
There is a humanoid figure that is probably up to its thighs in water, and it is probably about 10 feet tall, if it weren't partially under the water. And all of these, the rocks, when they reassemble, look like this is kind of like a carved stone statue, once they reassemble in the right places. And the statue looks at you and says, "Is it time to destroy the seals?"
No. Wait, maybe?
"If you are unsure, you can tell me the state of the world, and I will judge based on my protocols."
Oh,
What
Right.
language is he speaking in?
He's actually speaking common.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it's time to destroy those seals.
I mean,
let's
it might
put
be
it this
though.
way. Several of the seals are already broken, and bad things are moving about.
Mm.
That was the wrong thing to say.
Perhaps you should tell me the state of the world, and then I can proceed according to my protocols.
Everything's very wet.
So here is what I would like to do. I would like to do a group skill check here, which with each of you recounting the state of the world however you would like to, and using an appropriate skill. And we will see how he reacts based on that.
Oh my god.
You're screwed, laddie.
Hold on. I have to think about something for 1 minute. Because there's a decision point that I've been careening towards, and I'm there.
Uh-oh.
Here it goes.
This was the point where Zenlane became the boss.
I'm pretty sure the voice in my head is oddly silent at the moment.
Remember when Dr. Octopus took control of the arms? Listen to me now.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay. What is the story that you're telling it about the state of the world?
You guys are going to let me talk first?
I don't think there's any stopping you.
Oh, no, I paused and like thought about it, and now I'm going to talk. So you guys totally have an opportunity.
I'm fine with you going first because we all get to talk. So
Well, the world is fucked. The it's falling off. The whole like shit's falling off the side, and we need to remake the world to save it.
Remaking the world would indicate that we should break the seals and allow things to collapse into entropy.
You speak sense.
no.
I will note that.
No.
So that's one pro ending the world. I'm not even going to make you roll for that one.
Sorry.
Oddly enough, it's harder to convince him not to end the world than it is to just say, "Oh, it's fucked." All right. So, who would like to go next?
I'll go next.
Okay. Are you going to take a pro or con stance?
I am against ending the world.
Okay. Please state your case.
Well, there's lots of orphans, but we're helping them and we're teaching them life skills, and things are getting better in the neighborhood.
So you are saying the short-term benefits of life still outweigh the overall existential dread that is looming before us in the cosmos.
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm going to say that sounds like a persuasion. All right, give me a check.
Just good, because I'm proficient in that. That is a 16.
All right. Duly noted. Who else would like to speak?
Barrow feels wholly underqualified for this kind of activity.
So you agree with Zindlane. Nice.
No. So I guess Barrow does step forward and says that while there are some troubles in this world, there are those that trouble stirs to action. And it's through that positive action that change is brought to the world for the better.
So you are saying the overall positive energy that resonates across time outweighs the current transitive nature of matter.
Yes, you can't have bad without the good, or you can't have good without the bad.
I liked how I phrased it better. So that also sounds like a persuasion.
Okay, too bad it wasn't deception.
Oh, world's great.
We're all fine here. How are you?
That edge is farther away than it sounded when Zidane was talking about it.
All right, persuasion. That will be a... Holy crap with the crits tonight!
Hex.
Yeah, must be. No, I'm using D&D Beyond to roll, so I'll blame
D&D
that.
Beyond wants the world to survive.
Yeah, so natural 20, 22 total.
All right. Duly noted. Garland.
I would love to find a way to use insight for this, but I'm going to attempt intimidation.
Whoa!
This should be
Listen.
interesting.
Jagoff. I don't care what your protocol says, but if the people in this world have a finite amount of time left and it's gonna end, then they should be allowed to live as much of their lives as they've got coming to them, rather than ending it quickly and stealing that time from them. They deserve to have what they've got.
Okay.
So,
And so he looks at you and rephrases. So you are saying that the passion of living is more important in the moment than the long-term analysis of any measurable deeds done. And you are very forceful about this.
you damn right I am.
Give me your check.
Ooh, 14.
All
Could
right.
have been better.
So, so Garland, you do still have inspiration. Just saying.
Oh, balls. You know what's going to happen. What do you guys think? 14's good, right?
Well, I mean, considering what the possibility of you getting something lower.
Do you want the inspiration now or for when we have to kick Zinlane's ass?
I stand by my role.
Okay. So it stands back for a second and says, "Please allow me a second to access the protocols by which I was created." And it stands back for a second. It like leans its head back, and its eyes light up, and you hear like all the stones in its body kind of grating against one another, and it looks forward at you, and it says, "I have reached a short-term determination. Please return to me in a year and let me know the state of the world. Until such time, I will continue to guard this seal."
Word.
Ooh.
Do you have any questions you would like me before you leave?
No, we've got to break it. Like, how do I break it?
No. Hush now.
So, one of your questions is how to break this.
No.
Well,
No!
We do not want to know how to break this. 'Cause we know you'll do it if we tell you to.
I mean, if I allow you 3 questions to ask me, and he did ask that, I could tell you how to break this wall.
No, we don't want to know that. That's not one of the ones. No.
All right. You are a confusing group of
Yes, we
mortal
are.
creatures. Do you have any actual questions for me then?
I'm confused. Because I thought all of these seals were working in conjunction with each other.
Yes. I would not end the world by myself. This would just collapse part of the world.
Well, shit.
I could, however, then travel to other seals and destroy those. That is within my
Okay,
power.
now that's definitely not what. No, no.
Do you have any other questions for me?
How do we put the seals back that were already broken?
Oh, that cannot be done. Unless you were to travel back in time somehow. But that is very dangerous.
Should we ask him what's in that darkened alcove?
Really don't. How do we travel back in time?
Ah, so you would like to do something dangerous and inadvisable.
Usually, yes.
Well, through the darkened alcove, there is a portal into the void. Into the void, there is a spot called the Well of Eternity. If you were to travel into the Well of Eternity, you may be able to navigate the currents of darkness to move backwards in time.
I hear a lot of ifs in that statement.
Oh yes, most mortals get completely lost and discorporate within the Well of Eternity.
It is pretty dark in there.
Fuck.
How long do you have to... Well, no, that's the question.
Well,
I'll turn to Morgan. I wonder how long you have to walk before it's not dark anymore.
far enough.
And he sits there for a minute and he goes, so you asked me about... You rescinded that question. I believe I will return to rest until such time as I need to defend this seal. I will see you in a year. And he just falls, and you hear the splashing as all of the rocks kind of hit into the water. And
Rocks fall, everybody dies.
I think we need to go into the Well of Eternity.
We didn't find out how to come back.
I mean,
Too late.
the past might be better than the present.
No, I like now.
I have responsibilities here.
time travel always fixes things.
Yeah, clearly. What could possibly go wrong? Well,
Hello, McFly.
I think.
And while we're back there, I could fix some of my other mistakes.
No, trying to fix your own mistakes is always a bad idea.
Yeah, I don't know if we have that much time.
I just need to warn myself not to spend that much time with her.
Yeah, that's good. I think we've done all we can down in this hole. I think it's time to go back up.
Unless you want to like throw the wards up for 100 years.
Any volunteers?
Nope.
Yeah, it's not like... No.
All right. So you're walking back up the stairs and...
So we're walking and we're walking.
So here is my question. When you get back to the Iris, are you going to cycle it closed again?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Okay. So give me the check when you're all in position, and we'll see if you get it to cycle closed properly.
Yeah. Gar.
Were we using sleight of hand for that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you could if you have it.
I sure do.
The dexterity. Oh, non-natural 20.
A natural 20.
That's not great.
I got a 22.
I got a 13.
And now that's the band that I want to watch is the Unnatural 20s.
Unnatural 20s.
We had 2 out of 3, right? That's good, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's a thing. Failures 1. So it cycles partially closed.
Sorry, I can't guide myself, y'all.
So
It doesn't work that way.
The iris didn't like nicely all seal up the way it did before. There's like about a foot gap between the different parts of the iris.
Well, that's not good.
Can one of us go over and try hers again?
It's kind of stuck, so you might have to do some work on the mechanism to get it to reset.
I don't know. Do we want to try it again or just leave a foot gap? I mean,
Eventually this is going to flood over.
I think
Anyway.
we should close it.
You're just going to jam your tool in there and break it again.
that's what I'm afraid of, and that's what I don't want to do.
You don't diddle it right.
All right, expert, you go ahead and take care of that then.
I mean, you are proficient in thieves' tools, aren't you?
I am.
Yeah, so am I.
Go for it.
I'm not.
Blaine is the only one not proficient in thieves'
I'm
tools.
just not as good at it as Barrow is.
See, Thieves' Tools only gets the proficiency bonus
Yeah.
then, right? Okay.
Well, I was for doing this kind of work. I was going to give you an intelligence bonus plus.
That didn't do me any good.
Apparently, doesn't give anyone in the party any good.
Nope. Ain't no intelligence bonus around here.
I am all wisdom. I just have wise sayings. I'll preach at the mechanism.
I'll take a stab at it. Let's do this.
Stab it.
If Bar ever dies,
It's a dexterity check with these tools, right?
No, it's an intelligence check with thieves' tool. So just
Oh.
proficiency bonus if you don't
Oh,
have,
that's...
because you
all
got to be smart enough to know how to reset the mechanism when you
I'll
start playing
still
with
do
if Bar ever dies, there will be a wizard.
it.
15, Chief.
Okay, so you get this to reset, and when you hit the mechanism to reset, it opens completely up. So it didn't just fix the gap. You have to start over again.
Well,
Hey,
Hey,
you
better
partially,
than-
yeah.
Getting blown up.
All right.
balls.
We're going to do this on
You want to
3
do this
again.
one more time?
Okay, so are we doing it on 3 or after 3?
1, 2, 3, clicky.
You know what? I will let, if Zindlane wants to count down for all of you, I will give you all advantage on this.
Yeah, I'll do it.
1, 2, 3, clicky.
1, 2, 3, clicky.
Unnatural 20.
Ooh.
18.
Nice.
16.
Okay.
Nice. It was especially helpful because I clap my hands on every number.
So yeah, the iris goes and seals up.
Now we got to give the bad news.
So this seal is still intact. This is good news, right?
Well, the seal's intact.
Or is the bad news that we have to wait an entire year to fix the world?
Well, the bad news is that guy is gonna like stand watch for another year, or until someone comes and talks to him, whichever comes first. Or no,
Good idea.
a year minimum, and then
Yeah.
possibly later. But the bad news is that the well is gonna fill with water unless they keep pumping it out like forever, which they're not going to do. So it's going to fill up with water, and we're going to have to pump it out again if we ever want to come back down.
Yeah, because even in the dry season, there's probably at least 10 feet of water over where this iris is at.
Yeah. But hey, could be worse, right?
Man, at least it'll help keep anybody else out of here.
That's the thing.
I know we
At
should
least in
ask the
theory.
guy.
Oh, by the way, Zinlane, over in the corner on the side of the iris, there is a soaking wet coat.
I pick it up. Heck yeah.
Things coming up Zen Lane.
It's only been sitting down here for like
Yeah.
3 months.
Time to hell
This
off
was the
started
actual
working for
reason
me.
that I convinced them all to drain the well.
All right, we got his coat. I mean, we checked out the seal.
The rest
Yeah,
of the
that's what we
story was
did.
just some big old concoction.
So I think I'm not going to make you roll to get up the ladder. The old Model 15 is much better climbing out than climbing down.
Huh.
And when you get to the top, however, you have there is I'm trying to see which child it is, and I am going to say it is Shaggy, and this is the messenger that tends to like being completely bundled up in as many clothes as possible. And Shaggy walks up to Zindlane and says, Mr. Zindlane, I have a message for you.
Uh-huh.
And they hand you the message and kind of wait for a half second just in case there's a tip coming.
Oh, I like... Yeah, I'll hand him a tip. Like a copper piece.
Thank you. Thank you. And they go, they head out. Do you look at the note?
Yeah, after he leaves.
As soon as you unfold this, you recognize Rena's handwriting because, you've hung out with her enough times that
Yeah.
And as you start to...
As soon as I recognize her handwriting, I was like, yep, definitely need to go back in time.
And as you unfold the letter, Rena says in very pleasant terms, she's like, your sister came looking for you and at that apothecary shop that is no longer there. I have her staying with me as a guest. I know we're going to be very, very good partners in this endeavor to remake the Isles. But just in case, I'm going to have your sister next to me all the time as my closest advisor. Almost like she doesn't even want to leave.
Is that the end of the note?
Yeah.
Hold on one second.
And I'm giving you inspiration for that.
I absolutely crumple up the note, look around for a fire, think about it again, uncrumple the note, and fold it up and stick it in my pocket. She's holding my sister hostage.
What?
Stabbing time.
That's no good.
Yeah, I don't like that.
And I think
It might be time for a more direct approach.
I think on that note, I'm going to wrap up the session for this evening.
Good cliffhanger.
I am going to say it's probably not a good time to take time off to train, so you'll probably be staying this level for a little bit yet.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Because you have a potential assassination to do in the next month and whatever you want to do to deal with this.
Another potential assassination to do there.
Man.
All right. So I hope everybody had fun.
Oh, yeah.
Always.
All right. So does anyone have any last minute thoughts? Gator, would you like to sign off with anything?
Sure. I recently started streaming on Twitch and just got affiliated. So if anybody wants to come watch me play games, I would like to do an AP stream, but I'm trying to figure out the logistics for that. It's WereGator on Twitch, so twitch.tv/WereGator.
Awesome. That is very cool.
Very cool.
Bob, do you have anything you would like to sign off with?
It's been a long week.
Oh, hell yes.
Month. It's been a long year. Everybody hang in there. And we'll see you next time.
The last 6 months have been the longest decade ever.
Yeah. The last 3 days have been the longest month ever. So.
Eileen, do you have any last minute thing you would like to sign off with?
No, thanks to anybody who went out and voted.
Mhm.
And don't forget that your local elections are just as important. So,
more in cases.
Definitely.
yeah, so stay on top of that, research your local, and get involved.
Heartily agree. Thank you. And Brandon, do you have anything you'd like to sign off with?
I think everyone else has kind of said what's on my mind, so yeah, I'll just double that.
I said this for the Eberron stream, but honestly, after the last however long we've been going through stuff, I'm just signing off with the Bill and Ted. Be excellent to each other.
Good call.
And on that note, I am going to end the recording. If you happen to be watching this or listening to this, thank you very much for being here, and we will see you, hear you, communicate with you next time.
Bye.